Well, indeed, Ron Haslam was fastest of all, 1 minute, 14.7 seconds, and that is very close indeed, just 2/5 of a second off the existing lap record held by the young Californian Randy Mamola. Ron Haslam, who has been Britain's top man in the Grand Prix last year and started off well this year, finished 6th in the Italian Grand Prix. He's in pole position, and there is the bike, number 5, Ron Haslam's machine, being held by his mechanic, Jeremy. Next to him is another Honda, and that's the one that's going to be ridden by... There's Ron Haslam, who's climbing on the bike. Next to him, the young Australian, Wayne Gardner. Next to him, Wayne Gardner. This, of course, is the grid on which the riders are being formed now. They'll be going off for the warm-up lap, and as I speak, the signal given for the field to go around for 1 lap to warm up the tyres, get the tyres to working temperature. And Gary Lingham, the man who heads the field out on this first warm-up lap, I think they're only going to do 1. They'll come back to the grid then, and then they'll be reformed, a few seconds delay, and they'll be off on this 18-lap battle. Well, Peter, an interesting, exciting race in store.
Yes, naturally, last weekend we saw Ron Haslam and Wayne Gardner in action at the Italian Grand Prix at Misano, and Wayne Gardner was 4th on that occasion, beating Ron Haslam. Ron had the flu at the time. He's now much, much better, and I'm sure that Ron wants to reverse the situation that occurred a week ago in Italy. Ron, of course, has the slight advantage of having a works machine, a works 500 Honda, as opposed to Wayne Gardner's production version, and that does make it a little bit easier for Haslam. But Gardner, as he showed in Italy, has all the skill and determination to put one over on Haslam should the opportunity arise.
So, on the front row of the grid, a reminder, we should be seeing Ron Haslam. Came close to the lap record in practice, a common shot there of the chicane. The track being used today is the 1.9-mile circuit, not the extended lap, extended track that we're going to have. There's Ron Haslam coming through quickly onto pole position. A quick word with his mechanics, I'm sure, to make sure that everything is okay for this 18-lapper. This is a race that Ron would very much like to win, not just, of course, for the prestige and the cash, but also to please his many, many fans here at Donington. Ron lives at Langley Mill, not so far down the road, and he is very much the local hero. Next to him will be number 8, Wayne Gardner, the Australian who went down to Misano in Italy last weekend, scored a splendid 4th place in the 500cc World Championship race. Next to him should be Mick Grant on bike number 10. In fact, Mick is due to be the only Suzuki on the front row of the grid. All the others are Hondas. No sign of Mick yet, but they're just beckoning. There's Nigel Everett, his mechanic, standing in the centre of the picture there with the yellow overalls on, indicating to Mick where his position is on the grid. Mick working his way through, and there he goes, riding the 500 Suzuki. Next to him will be Keith Hewen on the STC Honda, the privately owned machine, and completing the front row of the grid just to the right, number 11, and that's British champion Roger Marshall on one of the Honda UK machines. So, the front row of the grid, Haslam, Gardner, Grant, Hewen and Marshall. 18 laps ahead of us. The riders bring down the visors. Their attention is directed to the traffic light start signal. A nerve-wracking business for everyone, riders, mechanics and officials alike. Ron Haslam edging forward a little bit, having to go back again, a little bit trigger happy, and in fact a problem there on the front row of the grid, and that was Mick Grant, who was just getting a word of advice from his mechanics. The visors go down again. This time it must be off, I'm sure. No problem this time. Everybody creeping forward. They're all keen. Finally they get away, and it's Ron Haslam and Roger Marshall from opposing sides of the grid who charge to the front. It's Ron Haslam from Langley Mill in the lead. Roger Marshall's going to peel off second into Redgate, and it's Haslam out in front, and we watch to see that everybody is safely around Redgate. But it's Ron Haslam and Roger Marshall in the lead as they drop down the hill into Craner Curve. Haslam, well, he had the nickname of Rocket Ron for a number of years. He's not particularly keen to be called Rocket Ron, but he's certainly going like a rocket now. Ron Haslam out in front, Roger Marshall on his tail, and the rest of the star-studded lineup in this World of Sport Challenge race hot on their heels. And there is the race leader, Ron Haslam, tucked down behind the fairing. Roger Marshall is in second place.
And it's John Pace in third. John Pace in third.
Well, that's a good ride from John Pace. He was sixth fastest in practice. Ron Haslam, Roger Marshall, John Pace. The rest of the riders going through. I saw Joey Dunlop there, Chris Sky in the middle of things.
And Barry Sheen's up into fifth place already. Barry Sheen in fifth place with Mick Grant fourth.
Haslam the leader into Redgate. One lap already gone. There is Barry Sheen. Sheen in fifth place behind Mick Grant.
And just behind Barry Sheen is Wayne Gardner and Rob McElnay.
Well, Gardner will want to try and quicken the pace if he can. Somebody going very wide there, finds the door shut as he goes through on the inside. That looked a little bit like Joey Dunlop. In fact, it was Joey Dunlop, the Ulsterman, who's certainly got a grip of his 500 Honda. Joey known as a pure road racer, but in the last few weeks he's had some very good rides. There's Wayne Gardner and Rob McElnay closing up on Barry Sheen. Sheen in fifth place, Wayne Gardner there right on his slipstream and Rob McElnay behind him. But this is the race leader, Ron Haslam, bike number 5 on the factory 3-cylinder Honda underneath the bridge, coming round to complete the second lap. Haslam still out in front.
And Roger Marshall said this morning that his only hope really was to get a good start and hang on to Haslam, and that's what he's doing as we watch John Pace, number 20.
Pace in third spot, Mick Grant. It looks as though Roger Marshall, in fact Wayne Gardner, has gone ahead of Barry Sheen. So Sheen has been relegated a place there. There is Mick Grant, that is Wayne Gardner behind him. There is Barry Sheen with a big number 7 on his back. Behind him is Rob McElnay, and then I think that's Keith Ewan who's moved up. Keith Ewan in 8th place, and this is a good ride for Keith.
But Wayne Gardner's certainly on the move. Ahead of this group, that's Barry Sheen in the front of the picture, followed by Rob McElnay and Keith Ewan.
Keith Ewan quickening the pace on the STC Honda. What a tremendous sight this is.
McElnay inside Sheen. McElnay nips the Works GB Suzuki inside the similar machine of Barry Sheen, relegating number 7 a further place back.
McElnay then now ahead of Barry Sheen. And what a tremendous battle that is. Here they come up the start and finish, or up the back straight into the start and finish area, we should say. Side by side, they go into the chicane.
Wayne Gardner past John Pace. Wayne Gardner up into third place now behind Roger Marshall.
Gardner in third place. John Pace is fourth. Then it's Mick Grant in fifth place. Behind him it's Rob McElnay, then Barry Sheen, and then Keith Ewan. That is Gardner in third position. Ahead of him are the race leaders Ron Haslam and Roger Marshall. Marshall and Gardner, of course, teammates in the British-based Honda UK squad. And Gardner now beginning to pull away from that group behind him. He'll want to get up on terms with teammate Roger Marshall and Honda factory man Ron Haslam. John Pace under pressure from Mick Grant and Rob McElnay. McElnay now looking for a way past Mick Grant. Barry Sheen is there, and behind Barry Sheen is Keith Ewan. This is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th spot. John Pace just going out of the picture there to the right of your picture. John Pace, bike number 20, very talented Colonial. John Pace number 20, Mick Grant number 10, Rob McElnay 19, Barry Sheen and number 7, and Keith Ewan number 16. What a tremendous battle it is as they go into the chicane again. This will be the end of the 4th lap in this 18-lap battle. Pace, McElnay, Grant. Then behind Grant it's Sheen, and behind Sheen it's Ewan. And Mick Grant switching positions and forcing Keith Ewan to move over. Barry Sheen with his normal wide line going into Redgate. Holds on to the place ahead of Mick Grant. John Pace at the front of this group. He is in 4th position. 5th is Rob McElhenney on bike number 19. John Pace, number 20, in 4th place. 5th is Rob McElhenney. 6th, number 7, Barry Sheen. 7th is Keith Hewan. In fact, 7th is Mick Grant, of course, and there is the race leader, Ron Haslam, and Ron has already opened up a clear-cut lead over the 2 Honda UK riders behind him. A morale-boosting ride this for Ron Haslam. Haslam, the race leader, goes through the chicane. That is number 11, Roger Marshall, from Rugby in Lincolnshire, the reigning British champion.
And we can see that Wayne Gardner is closing in on number 11 here, Roger Marshall. So Roger Marshall in 2nd place being closed in on by Wayne Gardner, the Australian.
Haslam at the moment with a 4.5 seconds lead over Roger Marshall. This man, Wayne Gardner, is in 3rd spot in hot pursuit of his teammate Marshall. That is Gardner getting visibly closer to Marshall. You can see the gap shrinking second by second.
And Marshall made a serious mistake there. He almost ran off the track. He had to pick the bike up, swept too wide. Oh, and almost crashed. He must have tyre problems. Something surely must be wrong as Gardner goes past.
And
2 mistakes in several hundred yards.
A big problem there for Roger Marshall, and that lets Wayne Gardner go through. Gardner now in 2nd place. And now Gardner a clear track ahead of him as he sets off, and you can see Roger Marshall very, very perplexed as to what's caused that problem. He can't see anything visibly obvious to him. Marshall, number 11, in 3rd place, twice came close to crashing. And this man, Ron Haslam, number 5, 27 years of age, from Langley Mill, just up the road here from Donington Park, well out in front. Haslam, that's a tail ender in between Haslam, that's Brent Gladwin, and Haslam's lead at just over 6.5 seconds now over Wayne Gardner. Gardner having leapt ahead of Roger Marshall after Marshall had that near disaster, and again Haslam finds his way past a slower man. They've done 6 laps, they're on their 7th.
And Haslam had a slide from the rear tyre there going through that corner as he accelerated. The back tyre let go, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem to him. He's used to that sort of thing as he comes now down towards the chicane, heavy on the brakes.
Haslam, 3rd home in the Daytona 200 earlier this year in March. 7 laps completed now. And there is the gap between him and this man in the centre of your picture now, Wayne Gardner, bike number 8, 7, just over 7 seconds. So the gap appearing to stretch a little bit. Gardner, who finished 4th in last week's Italian Grand Prix, tremendous performance down at the Adriatic circuit. But at the moment, he's losing ground to Ron Haslam, the man who finished 6th in that race.
And we can see that Roger Marshall has obviously decided that there's nothing wrong with the machine and is pressing on in his pursuit of Wayne Gardner. That's number 8, Wayne Gardner, but behind him is number 11, Roger Marshall.
News from the pits, Graham Crosby, the New Zealander, making a very welcome return, is out of the race, and so too is Chris Guy. Chris Guy also pulled out of the running, so 2 of the big names missing.
And we're watching there John Pace and Keith Hewan in their private dice, just ahead of Mick Grant. And that's Rob McElhenney coming through there. Number 19, Rob McElhenney, ahead of Pace, Hewan, Sheen and Grant.
So this is the battle for the lower leaderboard positions. 4th place at the moment, Rob McElhenney. 5th is John Pace, that's bike number 20. 6th is Keith Hewan on number 16. Then Barry Sheen, and behind Barry Sheen, just passing a tail ender, is number 10, Mick Grant. And Hewan beginning to look for a way through on the inside of John Pace. And this is an excellent ride for both John Pace and Hewan, both privateers. And ahead of them at the moment, factory machines, and just behind them, factory bikes as well. So John Pace, number 20, came over to this country 2 years ago from New Zealand, and showed himself to be a very talented rider on small bikes. And Hewan at the moment apparently not finding the legs to back pace, but close to him now. Again, couldn't go around the outside, had to settle for the inside line, wanted to be closer to Pace to try and slipstream him. There's McElney in fourth place to the right of your picture, and Hewan looking for the inside line, couldn't quite make it. 9 laps completed now by the leader, and the gap between Haslam and Wayne Gardner over 8 seconds now. This is the battle, though, out at the racetrack, and you can see the bike of John Pace there twitching as he brakes going into Redgate. McElney, Pace and Hewan. McElney, who finished 11th in that Italian Grand Prix. A fine overseas Grand Prix debut for McElney. His bike appears to be quicker on that downhill run. There is the race leader, Ron Haslam, over 8 seconds now. The advantage between him and second place man, Wayne Gardner. 9 laps gone, that's the halfway stage in this 18-lap World of Sport Superbike Challenge opening round. And what an enormous lead Haslam has got now, well over the length of that back straight. Haslam through the chicane. There's Gardner in second place. Gardner has a look over his shoulder, extended again the gap, now 8.23 seconds.
And while Gardner presses on, he really must hope that something goes wrong with Haslam's machine, because otherwise it's difficult to imagine that he can close the gap now between the two riders.
Well, we're halfway through this 18-lapper, and you can see the tyres not working quite so well at this stage as they did earlier on, and tyres, as ever, on this racetrack, as it is at every race event around the world, tyres playing a major part. Wayne Gardner, the man in second place, chasing the race leader, Ron Haslam.
And Ron said this morning that he was very confident in this particular instance that his tyres would last the 18 laps. They tested them for a full 18 laps at race speeds yesterday and the day before, and putting new tyres on for the race, he was sure that he wasn't going to have any problems. So we can expect Ron to be able to maintain this sort of pace all the way through, whereas Wayne Gardner is obviously trying to cut back the lead, and yet he has to worry about his car.
There is the race leader, Ron Haslam. 11 laps successfully completed, 7 more to go, and 8 seconds the gap still between Haslam and second place man Gardner. Haslam has the works 3-cylinder Honda engine, and that basically means the difference between his bike and that of Wayne Gardner and Roger Marshall behind is that he has a special exhaust system. Honda call it the attack system, which varies the exhaust pipe and means that he can accelerate out of the corner better than the other machines. It means that the power is flexible, and Ron says he can use a higher gear for several of the corners here, and that makes the machine a lot easier to ride. Well, this, in fact, is a bike almost identical to the one that Freddie Spencer won the World Championship on last year. Haslam, of course, a member of the Honda Grand Prix team. Haslam through the chicane again. 12 laps gone, 6 more to go.
And being a Grand Prix rider with race distances of 75 miles and so forth, Haslam well used to maintaining this sort of pace for as long as he has to.
And that is one of the tail enders, as Haslam, Gardner and Marshall continue out in front. Ron Haslam having no problems at all picking his way through inside or outside the slower men.
And it's a difficult thing to do at Donington because there are very few straights, and he has to pick his line through the corners and not upset his racing line too much.
Haslam underneath the bridge again into the chicane for the 13th time in this 18-lap event. And there is John Pace, one of the men dicing it out, and Hewan has got past him. Keith Hewan has got past him, and the gap between the race leader, Ron Haslam, and Wayne Gardner shrunk now to just under 8 seconds, so just under 7 seconds. And John Pace then, Barry Sheen in the picture there, bike number 7, Mick Grant at number 10, Sheen at the moment in 7th place, appropriately enough for bike number 7. Behind him, Mick Grant in 8th place, and John Pace just ahead of Sheen. 6th position, Keith Hewan in 5th place, and Mick Grant uses the curve and just a little bit more. Michael really is getting stuck into this one. Well, Mick, 39 years of age at least, battling away with 33 years of age, Barry Sheen. And Barry Sheen, who had such a wonderful ride at South Africa, tremendous performance, finishing 3rd in the South African Grand Prix. But that, of course, was on a wet track, and Barry has not been quite so competitive when the tracks have been drier.
And although these two 500cc Suzukis look the same, Barry Sheen, number 7, is riding a Harris-framed machine with a ex-Randy Mamola works engine, and Mick Grant, number 10 there, on a production Mark 8 Suzuki. So there are differences in the machine. In theory, Sheen's bike is faster, although there probably isn't a great deal into a circuit like Donington.
Sheen then in 7th place, Mick Grant number 10 in 8th position. This, though, is the race leader, Ron Haslam, well out in front, 14 laps gone. Well on the way round to completing this 15th lap, and as I said before, Ron will be very, very pleased about this race. Obviously, subject to any mechanical misfortunes or any rider error, Ron looks set to win this one, and the fact that he's mastered the pace so well will be one of the pleasing factors for Haslam. He's been very ill for the past 2 weeks, and he wasn't sure that he was going to have enough strength to do 18 laps hard, but you can see Ron there riding as quick as ever. And the gap now stretched to 8.2 seconds between Haslam and Gardner, so presumably Ron was easing off the pressure, must have seen the pit signal and decided that he could quicken his pace. And Mick Grant has gone ahead of Barry Sheen to take 7th place as Ron Haslam goes through on the inside of a tail ender to continue charging his way towards victory in this World of Sport Challenge race.
Haslam sweeps the Works Honda out onto the main straight, and he'll be reaching a speed of about 155, 165 miles an hour down the straight as the front wheel of the Honda lifts slightly over the jump.
Ron Haslam then coming towards the chicane. He'll have completed 16 laps now. And This is Wayne Gardner coming into the chicane. He's in second place. Bike number 8. The RS 500 production Honda racing machine. And Gardner, 23 years of age, desperately looking for a sponsor to help finance his Grand Prix ambitions. Honda UK's budget only allow for him to race in the major British events and the TT Formula 1 World Championship, and Gardner is now desperate to find some help to help go on the Grand Prix trail when the weekends that he's not racing for Honda UK. Gardner in second place at the moment.
Gardner scraping his knee on the deck as he feels, and the back tyre sliding. Obviously Gardner's tyre going away, but we're watching now number 5, Ron Haslam, on his inexorable way to seemingly to win this event.
Ron Haslam crosses the line, 17 laps completed. This is the last lap. You could see Ron look up, have a long lingering look at the pit board, and now only something terrible could stop Ron winning this race. An excellent performance from Ron, who has literally led from start to finish. And Ron is going as quick now as he was early on. Got into a nice, smooth pattern. And certainly the Americans who may be watching this in the pits must be aware that Haslam, who was very close to that record in qualifying for this particular event this morning, Haslam will be a very serious threat to their hopes of winning the team clashes here tomorrow and on Monday. Haslam coming through the chicane. The checkered flag will be ready for him, and it's checkered flag time for Ron Haslam. Victory then in this opening round of this World of Sport Superbike Challenge. Big wheelie there from Wayne Gardner, the young Australian, bike number 8. His teammate Roger Marshall also gets the front wheel up in the air. So a reminder then that Ron Haslam has won the opening round of the World of Sport Superbike Challenge. Second home, the young Australian Wayne Gardner. Third, Roger Marshall for a Honda clean sweep. So for the moment, back to Jim Rosenthal in the World of Sport studio.
Chris, thank you very much indeed. A clean sweep then for the Hondas who go out front in the first round of the World of Sport Superbike Challenge. Haslam 15 points, Gardner 12, and Marshall